What's up, guys? Axis and Alloys here. I'm back with another fantastic video. We got more content. So, as I've been waiting for Commander Space Doge, link to our channel in the description, to do his turn for my YouTube war I'm playing with him over Axis and Allies 1941, I've been working on some rules for Global 40. So, I've been thinking, right, what if we had the joys of Global 40, playing a massive power on a massive board, right? But we had a bit more freedom. We had a bit more freedom with the game. And so I decided to create Extreme Global 40. It's a free-for-all style. I should have a Google Doc with this information so you guys can try to kind of replicate this. So I've never played this. Never played that, just a disclaimer. But I will be looking for to play test it with some people. I've taken the Global 40 map, of which we love so much, and basically, I've added a couple nations, so I'll show those off. I'll show off the setups. They're all around the same as Global 40. And then the goal is to have each player play one country, right? Each player plays one country, and then it takes a turn to declare war, so that way alliances can quickly form. And people, like, through trade, get IPCs. So, just for being at peace with a power, you get some IPCs for that. If you conquer a country, you can have, the ability to almost puppet it. So that way you could still get trade from them. They'd just be, loyal to you. The major powers have, for the most part, the same setups. Like Japan, I haven't changed at all. Soviets, I have not changed. US, I have not changed. France, I had to alter their people in the UK and bring them over to France. But I'll show those off. Nations can, do, pacts of friendship, non-aggression pacts, requests for military access, then lease IPCs. I'll have some rules out for that. And then the goal is to have all nation spots be filled. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's 15, 16 nations, because I think I have Italy on here twice. So we're going to start with probably one of my favorite powers coming in now. These are represented by Japanese pieces, because I haven't gotten some pieces. I'll probably just use some Austro-Hungarian pieces for these. So I have some Japanese pieces representing South American Alliance. All of some roundels, but right now they're represented by a United South African flag right there at the 12 IPC mark. Right now it shows that they have 8 IPCs, but I think I'll make Peru, Bolivia, Colombia. I think I'll make them have some IPCs just to kind of make it a little fair, make each kind of nation count. Brazil would be the capital. Brazil has 3 infantry, a fighter, there's a cruiser and transport. Argentina's got 2 infantry, an artillery, a tank. Chile's got 2 infantry, got some infantry, destroyer up top. It's kind of to get a nice mix. Mix around. I have some oil derricks. There's an oil derrick in Venezuela, an oil derrick in Borneo, which is subject to change, and an oil derrick in Sumatra. These kind of would give each nation some extra IPCs for controlling that, only because the nations that have them aren't the richest. So we have the South American power. I quite like that. The United States is kept almost identical. Next up, we have a Canadian power. So they keep majority starting setups beside, and they'd collect 8 IPCs, because I'd make Ontario and Quebec, I think I'd make them worth 1 or 2 more. Again, all the IPC values for this are subject to change. I might make, for instance, 1 territory a little more for balancing. Then we give Western Canada, that is an infantry there. So that's that one. Let's see. Moving across the board, we have UK, it's largely kept the same. I think I added a couple troops here and there for them because I felt that they needed it. The Anzac troops in Egypt. Need 1 or 2 of those UK guy. Next up we have France. So the UK troops in that way in France. I don't think they're anywhere on the board, but You notice there's 2 infantry here, 2 infantry here. Tank was brought over, stuff like that. Next up is probably second to my favorite new power. It's Netherlands. So we have Netherlands will be placed at 14 IPCs probably. Right now I have a light cruiser and a sub, and then like 2 infantry and artillery and like an armored car, like a tank there. I thought representing them, because I always saw Suriname on the board, and I was like, we should probably get a power for that. We have their infantry in Dutch New Guinea for them, and infantry in Celebes, like a destroyer off the coast of Java, which has like a port and a artillery infantry. We have 2 infantry, fighter, derrick, transport sub. Something to get like this area, this kind of general area more defended from the Japanese, because they can pretty easily take it if they so choose. Next up, all these kind of black and white ones will be in color, but I have this kind of, this was a proposed Nordic Union flag, and so what I did was I gave Iceland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland all to this Nordic Union, because if every country is in a free-for-all, we want to have some countries that will make it interesting. So Sweden's got Sweden and Norway will be the capital. I'm leaning towards Sweden right now. And we'd have these, I've been using these as markers for, we're using Italian pieces to represent it. So we got like 3 infantry and an artillery in Norway, 2 infantry in Denmark, some anti-air infantry fighter artillery in the Swedens, and then 4 infantry in Finland. We got like a cruiser destroyer sub-transport in this area, not to be confused with the actual Italy, which is left untouched. And the South Africans back there. So yeah, I don't know, I always thought some kind of Nordic Union, that especially as Iceland, would be cool. I might want to give them Greenland too. I don't know, I'm still debating that. Russia's unchanged. I added a communist Chinese power. They got like 2 infantry, like 3 infantry here and artillery. They'd collect 4, because I'd make it that like the communist Chinese, those territories they have would each be worth 2, but only for them. And I'd allow China and them, if they conquer all of the like Chinese round all the countries that like Japan has, for instance, they'd be able to like, and I think even just regularly they should be allowed to expand into India and stuff. They don't have to, because they're at peace with Japan. I don't know what I'm going to do with Mongolia and like Bulgaria and Greece, because I kind of want them to be taken up, because all the neutrals except like Spain, Portugal, them, and some of the African coast nations, I think they should all probably be with somebody, unless I'd have to create some rules. The Pacific, largely unchanged, and that was almost intentional, except the addition of a Russian sub here. I thought that would change things up, because then that would allow Russia to have a need to go to war with Japan, is to defend, or like Japan to go to war with them, but they'd have to watch out because of the pesky sub over there. Yeah, and then I also had the Neo-Ottoman Empire, or Turkey power, Middle Eastern power. They have all the Middle East. They have Saudi Arabia with some infantry, fighter, artillery. Iraq, like 3 infantry there. Afghanistan with 4 infantry. A cavalry in Eastern Persia. I don't know if I'll add cavalry. I might to like China. Some Persian units. And then Turkey would be the capital. We got like a sub up there. Minor factory. I still got to decide where facilities are going. Like if I'm going to give someone a major one, and then I think I might introduce like battle cruisers like this guy into the game. Well, so basically my scenario adds a lot of new nations to be played in a free-for-all, kind of like a Risk, like setting where you got to make allies and make friends. I'll probably, like I said, get a Google Doc of this and put this in the description. But yeah, this is meant to be played with like a lot of friends over. And I did add some Brunch Victory into China as well. Remember that? To be played with a lot of people, and so, even although like I moved a lot of Germany's units, former units from the Nordic countries and Netherlands and stuff elsewhere, it's still going to be an interesting dynamic because Germany, unlike the actual game, right? They can't just, go through everybody, They can't just, try to swoop in and do, and kill all the nations of Europe, right? They gotta be cautious because, if you're going for the Netherlands, right? And you want to take them out, you really shouldn't, because if you go for it, A, you're sacrificing your trade with them, but B, what you're also doing is you're allowing other nations to kind of be able to align with them, make a non-aggression, like a guarantee their independence, and then you end up having to go to war, and you have to end up go to war with maybe Britain or the Soviets, and if your border is not defended there, that could spell doom for some nations. So this was kind of my proposed rules for a global forward. That could maybe spell doom for your nation. So thanks guys for watching. As always, I'm Axis and Alloys. Really looking forward to Commander Space Doge finishing his UK turn. I know it's in the works right now, bud. Well, so long, because this is Axis and Alloys signing off.